concerns seriously. And at the end of the day, finally, forgive my saying it, presented us with a take it or leave it situation. And we left it. So there's a very active and intense trade discussion going on at this point of time. So this brings me to the trade part of what you asked. Look, we did not sign RCEP for this reason. Through the RCEP discussions, we continuously sought protections and safeguards because we had apprehensions about a surge of imports, essentially spurred by non-market and subsidy support. We didn't get it. The RCEP partners did not take our concerns seriously. And at the end of the day, finally, forgive my saying it, presented us with a take it or leave it situation. And we left it. And I think today, if you ask people, at that time when we did it, perhaps opinions were a bit more divided. Today, I think there's a much stronger consensus that not joining RCEP for a country like India was a wise decision because, see, the nature of RCEP is a supply chain architectured system where rules of origin have very limited meaning. I mean, they can't be verified in the way in which it used to be before. So the way the flows would come at us, already we are today struggling with some very serious adverse trade balances. There are deep concerns in this country about the hollowing out of our industrial capacity. We believe that we are getting, again, a lot of unfair competition out of economies east of India. For sake of diplomacy, I will not take names. I think all these were factors into our thinking.
And getting back to the, this energy in defense industry, security cooperation with Minister, you were there at the inauguration of President Trump to lay the foundation for what turned out to be a very successful visit by the Prime Minister to Washington, and came out with a statement. Just looking at the outcome, it's so substantive. It just touches so many aspects of this growing bilateral relationship between the United States and India, including cooperation in the defense sector, and agreement to work towards a trade, not a free trade agreement, but a trade agreement nonetheless. I understand that the U.S. delegation is here to kickstart that negotiation. So I remember that moment many years ago when the RCEP was being finalized, and the summit meetings that gathered to finalize this and signed on to it. And Prime Minister Modi was the one who could not sign on to it.
Correct.
And that was a disappointment for the group. But I think from the Prime Minister's point of view, you understood the difficulties of signing on to that at that particular moment. But since then, there has been many bilateral trade agreements worked out. And now you're working towards one with the United States. How do you see this unfolding? And does this mean a fundamental shift in India's trade policy toward openness rather than the traditional, protect my industry kind of a position?
Let me, for the sake of clarity, separate the questions into two parts. One was going to Washington and what did we agree on, and the other part, the trade set of issues. When we went to Washington in February, when Prime Minister went, and the discussions that he had with President Trump, I think overall our assessment was that we saw many changes which were, which suited us, or which in some ways formed a convergence on which we could build upon. Let me give you a few examples. Let's take defense. We saw a president who was much more open and much more active in terms of building a security defense partnership, and much more forthcoming about American technology possibilities. Our own experience in the first term, in his first term, was that he personally took an interest in ensuring that some of the platforms which we had an interest in, which we wanted, which were sort of meandering their way somewhere through American bureaucracy, that he stepped in and made sure that this happened. This time around, we certainly heard a recognition that there has to be a better way of engaging partners. If there are countries who respect and recognize the value of American technology and want to acquire it, and there should be easier pathways than the current one. So we certainly expect a more substantial level, higher quality defense relationship as a result. A second area of interest for us was energy. For a country like India, whose imports are overwhelming, how to make sure that there's a stable, reasonable, predictable energy environment is something which is crucial for our long-term growth and development. Now, we saw a president who clearly had an interest in ensuring that energy availability was more, energy flows were more diverse, that countries like India could have more choice than we currently do. We had some decades ago about a decade ago, started importing LNG from the US. But for various reasons, the business stayed at a certain level. We have interest in increasing it because, the US is a very, very stable supplier.
Yes.
So we found from the energy perspective, a very positive administration. I would also say we had a good discussion on the tech world. I think there was a recognition that because, big tech is today, the success of big tech is essential to make America great again. There is a connection between the two. And I think big tech recognizes the importance of mobility and talent flows, and the importance of partnerships, because obviously everything in the tech world can't happen in America. So how do you create reliable supply chains? How do you have trusted vendors, trusted partners, transparent partners? I think these were issues on which again we saw a great deal of understanding and positivity. On trade, we had a very open discussion, and the result of that discussion was that the Prime Minister and the President agreed that we would conclude you rightly said, not a free trade agreement, but a bilateral trade agreement by fall this year. And that is what is currently under discussion.